It's easier now than it ever was, definitely. First of all, we haven't done those brutal, 15-week tours. I mean, there is something to that. And
there's a psychosis that sort of sets in.
At about 8 weeks.
At about 7, I would say, maybe even 6.
You can't go past, in my experience, and I've watched this with other bands too, at the 8th week, I just start watching for the signs. And the cracks appear earlier.
Yes.
But after 8 weeks, there's the fall guy. Somebody's going to start taking heat, and it's almost like the weakest, the pup in the pack.
Yeah, right. Survival.
The omega dog and the alpha dog.
Somebody's going to go down, and that just seems to happen. And I don't know why that is, but luckily we don't have that problem anymore. We don't tour for that long. Yeah. And we just
have kids.
We know each other so much better now too. So, and that's some of it. So there's a lot more acceptance of just, that's just how Vicki is. Just leave her alone for 3 hours, she'll be fine. Or whatever it may be.
Right. And the parenting skills come in handy. Are you cranky? Are you tired? Are you hungry? Hungry and tired are like things that are kind of universal.
You don't really grow out of hungry and tired.
You learn to identify them. I kind of look at it like I have 2 families. Well, of course, my children and my husband, which is, I think for all of us, our families, our children, our husbands come first in a way, and we were able to kind of figure out a way to run this little cottage industry, which is the Bangles, which we've been nurturing for many, many decades now, several decades. But we also have Vicki and Debbie are sisters, so they are truly family, but I feel like I'm part of their family too. And so it's a lot of fun when we go on the road, and we do try to take care of each other. So there's it's sort of a nice balance. And the music just sort of feeds our, not to sound corny, but it sort of feeds our souls in a different kind of way. For me, there's something very liberating about stop worrying about the kids and scheduling and are they okay, and what's going to happen, and just sort of like dive full force into the music and just kind of experience the moment. It's a very
it feels like a luxury, actually.
It is a luxury, yeah. We're going on the road tomorrow, and you don't ever stop worrying when you're away from home, but it puts you into the moment playing music, and I think, it's that. John Lennon wrote that great song about his little boy, about I'm busy making plans.
Life is what happens
to you when you're busy making plans. There's so much.
Great line.
That is so
good.
So accurate about parenting in some way, because you're always planning for the next thing that's happening, the birthday party, the next grade in school, the next adventure. But
you have to be careful not to miss the moment.
You're careful not to miss the moment. But for me, personally, I just feel like when I'm playing music, I'm truly in the moment, and it's very therapeutic for me.
There's a lot more history now, obviously. I mean, the young girls who are picking up guitars today, they now have a long line of bands to look back on and say, wow, I want to be like the Go-Go's or the Donnas or the Bangles or that sort of history to draw on. We didn't have that. And there were female artists, obviously, who we completely admired and were inspired by. But the idea of being a group of young women making music together and being completely insular and self-sufficient and writing your own material and performing it, that was pretty new.
Right.
And it was new in the late 70s when Debbie and I started it, doing it in high school. And it was still new in 81 when we met Susanna, and it was still new in 82 when we were doing it on the Sunset Strip. And I mean, there are other bands, but it didn't have this beautiful long history that it does now. And we're seeing more and more and more and more and more girls picking up instruments and playing and loving it and having no fear whatsoever, and none of that in the back of their heads like, what are you doing? This is a gimmick. Why are you doing this?
Right.
Because that's not an issue anymore.